Your thoughts are exhausting you. Not your job, not your responsibilities, not your lack of time. It's your thoughts. The constant noise in your head, the endless conversations you replay, the worries you rehearse, the decisions you revisit, the futures you imagine, the past moments you refuse to release. You wake up tired, not because you didn't sleep, but because your mind never truly shut down. And the most dangerous part is this: you think this is normal. You think everyone lives like this. You think feeling mentally drained is just part of being an adult. You think the problem is that you're not strong enough, disciplined enough, focused enough. But the truth is far simpler and far more uncomfortable. Your thoughts are working against you. Right now, as you listen to this, your mind is probably already reacting, agreeing, questioning, analyzing, comparing this message to something else you've heard before. That's the exhaustion. You are rarely present. You are almost always thinking, and thinking feels productive, so you don't question it. But thinking is not the same as clarity, and constant thinking is not intelligence. It's mental overload. Your brain was not designed to run non-stop without rest, boundaries, or direction. It was designed to solve problems when necessary, then return to a state of balance. But modern life doesn't allow that. You're constantly consuming information, opinions, fears, expectations, and comparisons, and none of it ever turns off. You scroll, you read, you watch, you listen, and every piece of input leaves a residue in your mind. You carry it all with you. That's why even when you're doing nothing, you feel tired. That's why rest doesn't feel refreshing. That's why you feel overwhelmed before the day even begins. Your mind is cluttered, and clutter drains energy. Most people believe exhaustion comes from effort, but effort is not what drains you. Meaningless mental repetition is. Replaying conversations that already ended, arguing with people who aren't there, worrying about outcomes you can't control, imagining futures that may never happen. None of that moves your life forward, but it consumes enormous amounts of energy. Your mind becomes a room filled with open tabs, all demanding attention, none ever closing. And over time, this constant background noise becomes so familiar that you forget what mental quiet even feels like. You forget what clarity feels like. You forget what peace feels like. So you normalize exhaustion. You call it stress. You call it burnout. You call it being busy. But it's none of those things. It's unmanaged thinking. Here's something most people never realize. Your thoughts don't deserve unlimited access to you. Just because a thought appears doesn't mean it's important. Just because it's loud doesn't mean it's true. Just because it repeats doesn't mean it needs solving. But your brain treats every thought like an emergency unless you train it otherwise. So it keeps running. It keeps scanning for danger. It keeps replaying mistakes. It keeps predicting worst-case scenarios. Not because it hates you, but because it thinks it's protecting you. Your brain's primary job is survival, not happiness. And survival means anticipating problems before they happen. That worked well when danger was physical and immediate. But now, danger is abstract. It's social, emotional, psychological. So your brain stays on high alert all the time. And that constant alertness is exhausting. You might notice it most at night. When the world finally quiets down, your thoughts get louder. You lie in bed, physically still, mentally restless. Your body wants sleep. Your mind wants answers. So it reviews the day. It imagines tomorrow. It replays what you should have said. It worries about what you still haven't done. And the more you try to stop thinking, the harder it gets, because resistance feeds the noise. The truth is, your mind isn't tired because it's weak. It's tired because it never gets a break. You haven't taught it when to stop. You let every thought finish its sentence. You let every worry run its course. You let every idea spiral into 10 more. And over time, this becomes your default state, mental tension. This tension shows up in your life in subtle ways. You procrastinate, not because you're lazy, but because your mind is already overloaded before you start. You avoid decisions because thinking about them feels heavy. You feel restless even when you're resting. You seek distraction, not for pleasure, but for relief. Distraction gives your mind something simple to focus on, so it doesn't have to wrestle with everything else. That's why scrolling feels comforting. That's why noise feels safer than silence. Silence forces you to face the chaos in your head, and chaos is uncomfortable. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Your thoughts are not the problem. Your relationship with them is. You believe you must engage with every thought. You believe thinking more will give you clarity. You believe analyzing will protect you from mistakes. But clarity doesn't come from more thinking. It comes from better thinking, and sometimes from less. There is a difference between useful thought and mental noise. Useful thought moves you toward action, understanding, or resolution. Mental noise goes in circles. It repeats, it drains, it never arrives anywhere. Most people spend the majority of their mental energy on noise. And then they wonder why they feel depleted. Another reason your thoughts are exhausting you is because you've tied them to your identity. You don't just think thoughts, you believe them. You assume that if a thought appears, it must mean something about who you are or what's true. So when a negative thought shows up, you don't see it as a passing signal. You see it as a verdict. I'm behind. I'm not doing enough. I should be further along. I'm wasting my potential. Those thoughts don't just drain energy. They drain self-trust. And when you don't trust yourself, everything becomes harder. You second-guess decisions. You hesitate before acting. You seek reassurance instead of clarity. That's exhausting. You were never meant to carry the weight of every thought as truth. Thoughts are suggestions, not commands. They are mental events, not facts. But when you forget that, your mind becomes a courtroom where you're constantly on trial, defending yourself against accusations that never end. No wonder you're tired. There's another layer to this exhaustion. You think about things you can't control as if thinking will change them. You replay the past as if you can rewrite it. You worry about the future as if anxiety will prepare you. But thinking about uncontrollable things doesn't give you power. It takes it away. It creates the illusion of control while stealing your peace. And your nervous system can't tell the difference between a real problem and a mental one. So it reacts to thoughts as if they're threats. Your heart rate changes, your muscles tense, your breathing shifts, all from thinking. Your body pays the price for your mind's habits. And because this happens quietly, slowly over time, you don't notice it building. You just wake up one day feeling constantly tired, mentally foggy, emotionally flat. And you assume that's just life. But it doesn't have to be. You don't need to stop thinking. You need to stop feeding every thought. You need to create space between you and your mind. Because you are not your thoughts. You are the one who hears them. That realization alone can change everything. When you notice a thought, instead of immediately engaging with it, you reclaim energy. When you allow a thought to pass without chasing it, you conserve mental power. When you decide which thoughts deserve attention, your mind begins to quiet on its own. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped overloading it. Clarity feels light. Mental quiet feels unfamiliar at first, almost uncomfortable, because you're used to noise. But once you experience it, you realize how much energy you've been wasting. Energy that could go into action, into creativity, into presence, into living. Your mind doesn't need more input. It needs fewer open loops. Your thoughts don't have to exhaust you. Finish thoughts when possible. Write them down instead of carrying them. Decide once instead of revisiting endlessly. And most importantly, allow some thoughts to exist without resolving them. Not every question needs an answer right now. Not every feeling needs analysis. Not every idea needs execution. Some thoughts are just noise passing through. When you stop treating them like emergencies, they lose their power. And slowly, your mind learns a new pattern. It learns that silence is safe, that stillness isn't dangerous, that not thinking doesn't mean something is wrong. That's when the exhaustion fades, not overnight, but steadily. You start waking up with more mental space, You feel less pressure to constantly do something. You act with more clarity and less resistance, because your energy is no longer being drained by thoughts that lead nowhere. This is the upgrade most people never make. They try to optimize habits, routines, productivity systems, but they ignore the foundation, their thinking. Fix the way you relate to your thoughts, and everything else becomes easier. Action feels lighter. Decisions feel clearer. Rest feels deeper. Your life doesn't change because you thought more. It changes because you thought less about the wrong things. If this message resonated, continue with the next video in this series. This is where mental clarity becomes a daily practice, not a rare. They can serve you, but only if you stop letting them run everything. If this video hit you, subscribe. Continue this reset in the next video.